The Israel-Iran war has entered its 8th day, with deadly strikes, nuclear site bombings, and global reactions intensifying. Here are the top 10 developments you need to know today. But first, to recap a bit. Israel initiated the conflict with preemptive airstrikes under an operation codenamed Rising Lion. The stated aim was to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons, which Israel considers an existential threat. In retaliation, Iran has launched waves of ballistic missile and drone attacks on Israeli cities, targeting military and civilian sites. According to available reports, Israel's attacks on Iran have resulted in a death toll exceeding 240, including 70 women and children, while Iranian strikes on Israel have killed at least 24 people. Now let's start with the new developments. An Iranian ballistic missile directly struck the Soroka Medical Center in Be'er Sheva, southern Israel, causing extensive damage to a building used for surgeries.
An Iranian ballistic missile directly hit the Soroka Hospital in Be'er Sheva. This hospital serves over 1 million Israelis, including Bedouins, Jews, Christians, and Arabs alike. Iran targeting civilian centers with ballistic missiles is no surprise for us. They have been openly declaring their desire to destroy the state of Israel for decades now. These aren't just words. Over the past 6 days, Iran has launched over 450 ballistic missiles and hundreds of UAVs. This is exactly why we cannot and we will not allow this regime to obtain nuclear weapons or expand its missile arsenal. And so, we continue our operations, striking Iranian nuclear weapons facilities, missile launchers, and military sites. Iran targets civilians. We target an existential threat that endangers global security. And we will prevail.
President Donald Trump will make a decision on whether the U.S. will get involved in the Israel-Iran conflict in the next 2 weeks.
Regarding the ongoing situation in Iran, I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved. In light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks." That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today.
At least 240 people were wounded in Thursday morning's Iranian missile strikes across Israel, with the majority of injuries classified as light. Among the injured, over 70 were from the Soroka Hospital strike in Be'er Sheva. For individuals sustained serious injuries, according to Israel's health ministry. The Israel Defense Forces conducted an airstrike on Iran's partially built heavy water research reactor in Kandab, also known as Iraq. Iranian officials reported that the facility was evacuated prior to the strike, and there was no radiation risk. Tehran had previously informed the UN nuclear watchdog of plans to operate the facility in 2026. Other military sites, including centrifuge production and weapons manufacturing facilities, were also hit. India announced plans to evacuate its nationals stranded in Iran, just a day after launching operations to repatriate citizens from Iran. In a press statement, the Ministry of External Affairs said Indian citizens in Israel who wish to return will be assisted under the same operation. Their evacuation will be carried out via land routes from Israel, followed by air travel back to India. Israel's defense minister Israel Katz declared that Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei can no longer be allowed to exist after the Soroka Hospital strike. Speaking in Holon near Tel Aviv, Katz accused Khamenei of personally ordering attacks on civilian targets, including hospitals, and labeled them a threat to Israel's existence. Previous reports indicate that American intervention discouraged Israel from targeting Khamenei earlier. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baqiei criticized the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, for alleged bias and complicity in Israel's actions. This followed an IAEA report alleging Iran's non-compliance with nuclear obligations, issued just before the conflict began. Iran accused the agency of siding with Israel in its war of aggression. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Garibabadi warned that Iran has all necessary options on the table if the U.S. directly intervenes to support Israel. He urged the U.S. to remain neutral or risk facing Iranian retaliation. The Kremlin also cautioned that U.S. military intervention in the conflict would lead to a terrible spiral of escalation. The U.S. military repositioned aircraft and naval vessels from Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar and a port in Bahrain, home to the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet, to avoid potential Iranian attacks.